Hey, what is up everybody, it's Animac here for Anime Uproar, and the MHA manga recently took a tragic turn. And now we are witnessing what could be the ultimate Quirk evolution as Shoto Todoroki arrives to face his brother Dobby in the final fiery showdown. All the Todorokis are already there to bear witness to this explosive conclusion. Although one mysterious woman in the Philippines could change everything. I think Horikoshi is cooking something spectacular, so let's get into it. You guys know how this works. If you enjoy our MHA content and you want to see more in the future, leave a quick like and comment right now. It only takes you a second, but it helps us with that YouTube algorithm. And if you are one of the over 50% of people who watch our videos regularly but still haven't taken the time to subscribe yet, do me a big favor and make this the video that you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. Subscribing on YouTube is of course completely free, but it helps me out a lot. Finally, this video will contain MHA manga spoilers, so please proceed with caution. You have been warned. In the last few chapters, we witnessed the awakening of Dobby's secret ice quirk. The quirk that he inherited from his mother's side of the family, but which lay dormant inside of him until now. Dobby's mother, Rei, then interrupted the battle between Endeavor and Dobby. She was followed by Dobby's siblings Fuyumi and Natsu, who also arrived on the blazing battlefield. The entire family is trying to convince Dobby to calm down and go back to being Toya. But by coming so close to Dobby, they're also putting their own lives in direct and immediate danger. In fact, their skin is already getting scorched just from being somewhat close to Dobby and the blazing inferno that he has become. The only member of the Todoroki family who is not there yet is of course Shoto, but we know that he's on his way and that he's about to arrive at any moment thanks to the help he's currently getting from Ida's super speed. The latest chapter starts off with Rei, Natsu, and Fuyumi all using their powerful ice quirks to try to cool Dobby off. And even though the explosion is still drawing near, the rate of temperature increase at the epicenter of the battle has gone down. That said, the explosion still appears to be unavoidable. There doesn't seem to be a way to actually stop it as much as Dobby's family would like to. And speaking of Dobby's family, we see that Rei, Fuyumi, and Natsu are trying their very best to create as much ice as possible. But just their proximity to Dobby's inferno is continuing to scorch their skin, making them suffer what will likely be permanent damage. Although to be fair, that damage on their skin won't matter much if Dobby really does explode and they remain as close to the epicenter as they are now when the explosion happens. If that explosion happens, everyone within a 5-kilometer radius will perish instantly, so yeah, burns on their skin will be the last of their concerns. Meanwhile, as all of this is happening, Dobby is actually laughing out loud. And on the inside, he is thinking that for once, everyone in his family is actually looking at him. For once in his life, he is the center of attention. Not his brother Shoto, not anyone else, but him, Toya. Although, in order to become the center of attention, he had to stop being Toya and he had to become Dobby. And Dobby really seems to like this feeling. He likes being the center of his family's attention, even though he became that center for the darkest and most tragic reasons possible. Dobby likes this feeling so much that he wishes that he got to experience it sooner. We also have to note at this point that Endeavor really isn't looking too hot. Or I guess yes, he is looking way too hot, so that was a bad phrase to use in this particular situation, but you know what I mean. Endeavor looks like his face is literally falling apart from Dobby's flames and heat, and these kinds of panels really make you wonder if Endeavor can possibly survive this fight, or if he is about to go out in a blaze of glory right along with Dobby. A lot of people think that Endeavor's ultimate redemption will involve him sacrificing his life. But it's also clear that Horikoshi really loves Endeavor. I mean, Endeavor is by far the best written character in the series, so who knows, maybe Horikoshi will allow him to live in the end. We'll have to wait and see. The chapter then briefly switches focus to another battle, which is a bit further away from Dobby's inferno, but still close enough to be within the blast radius. Ochako and other heroes are still battling Toga and the Twice clones. Like yeah, we knew that they were all there and that this was going on, but with everything that's been happening with Endeavor and Dobby, I personally wasn't focusing too much on Ochako and Toga, no offense. But Horikoshi wanted to remind us that they are still out there, and with that in mind, Horikoshi wanted to remind us that the heroes have a very difficult task ahead of them. The heroes are attempting to evacuate both themselves and all the civilians as far away from Dobby as possible, while still having to deal with all those twice clones at the same time. This is definitely not an easy task, and one wrong move could lead to them getting overwhelmed by Sadman's parade and failing to evacuate on time. Nevertheless, the heroes are making progress, and we see that those UA robot vehicles are successfully evacuating the civilians as we speak. That said, as the evacuations are happening, both the civilians themselves and everyone else in Japan is able to witness the terror of Dobby's Inferno thanks to the reporters who are flying in a helicopter above the battlefield. The reporters are broadcasting all of this live, and it must be a truly spectacular event to witness on live television, even though the people watching can't exactly enjoy it because they know that this is real, it's not a TV show. For so many people in Japan, the consequences of this epic battle and the other hero versus villain battles that are going on right now will determine their entire future and the future of their country. Even in other countries, and especially in a cafe in Manila, Philippines, people are watching the battle live. And there is one woman with short white hair who is praying quietly. To me, it seems clear that this woman has a close personal attachment to the events unfolding in Japan. Now, maybe Horikoshi is just shouting out the Philippines because he knows that whenever you do that, all your Filipino fans will get hyped up about it and make it go viral online. But I tend to think that this white-haired woman that is deliberately being focused on is actually relevant to the story in some way. But with that said, huge shout out to all the Filipino fans of Anime Uproar out there. The Philippines is actually our third biggest country here on the channel when it comes to demographics, right behind the US and India. Long story short, Filipinos clearly have great taste and are men and women of culture. The chapter ends as our boy Shoto finally arrives in Gunga. He hasn't quite made contact with Dobby and the others yet, but he is almost there thanks in large part to Ida. When I was reading this chapter for the first time, I thought that Ida was like a freaking transformer now and that he somehow turned himself into an airplane in order to get Shoto there as fast as possible. But it seems that the airplane is just something that Shoto created with his ice in order to make them more aerodynamic and allow them to travel through the air more efficiently. I have no idea if this would actually work, like in terms of the laws of physics. Like, would a plane made of ice even be able to fly? I most certainly do not know, but hey, it does look cool. The ice plane then disintegrates as Shoto begins to activate Phosphor, his new super move, which we know has the power to neutralize Dobby's heat, and that is how this chapter ends. What a chapter, absolutely epic and intense from beginning to end. But here's the question. Can a combination of Shoto's Phosphor and the powerful ice quirks of Rei, Fuyumi, and Natsu actually stop Dobby from overheating and exploding? Or will they maybe only manage to cool them off briefly, like for long enough to allow them all to say their final goodbyes, and then Dobby inevitably dies, but we get some closure for the Todoroki family? What do you guys think? Can Dobby still be saved somehow? Or is his death now just a matter of when, not if? Personally, I'm leaning towards Dobby actually dying here. If this was like Black Clover, I'd say nah, he lives. But with MHA and with how far gone Dobby seems to be, yeah, I think he will die, but after we get some form of closure first for the Todorokis. As for the other Todoroki siblings and Rei, I think they survive, but when it comes to Endeavor, it's more complicated. Is Endeavor about to die along with Dobby as a way to finally redeem himself for all his terrible mistakes? And if he dies, who will replace him as the #1 pro hero? Endeavor is another character that I could totally see dying, because he's part of the old generation, he made many mistakes, and him sacrificing his life to make up for those mistakes would make for an amazing character arc. But okay, let's say he dies. Who will replace him as the world #1? Maybe someone from the younger generation like Mirio, or even Deku. Are we gonna see a generational shift before the manga ends, or is it still too soon for that? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I also want to talk about Shoto and the evolution and awakening of his quirk. Phosphor is obviously a big deal, but even the whole ice airplane thing is a sign that Shoto's quirk is continuing to evolve rapidly. Shoto knows that in order to stop Dobby and make a difference in this war, he will have to go above and beyond his current powers and abilities. And it seems that he is really pushing himself to the edge, and this is allowing him to unlock new aspects of his quirk, similarly to how Dobby unlocked his ice quirk after being pushed up to the very edge of sanity and then eventually over it. With Dobby already having stronger flames than Endeavor, and now likely having an ice quirk that is even stronger than Rei's, he should theoretically be stronger than Shoto. So if Shoto hopes to fight back and make a difference against Dobby, he will have to go beyond Plus Ultra once again. Can Shoto awaken some sort of evolved form of Phosphor that is exponentially stronger than the earlier version and that can actually cool Dobby off by force? Could he awaken a totally new and different aspect of his quirk, something that goes even beyond Phosphor? Maybe something like Cold Fusion that gives him nuclear levels of power. I'm not sure what exactly Horikoshi has planned for Shoto right now, but I'm sure that it's going to be absolutely epic. And of course, with both Shoto and Dobby experiencing recent quirk awakenings, I wonder what we can expect from the Deku and Shigaraki fight. I mean, they're both already insanely strong, but could they also undergo further quirk awakenings as they continue to push each other beyond every conceivable limit in their final battle? I still hope we're gonna get to see Deku experience quirk singularity, which will lead to all of his separate quirk factors within One for All merging into one single godly quirk factor, the ultimate super quirk. Finally, who was that woman with white hair in the Philippines? It's highly unlikely that Horikoshi would just show her and focus in on her for no reason, right? She has to be somehow important to the story. Is she also a Himura family member who is related to the Todorokis through Rei? Is she going to do anything else in the story? Or is she just gonna stay there and pray and I guess drink coffee? Could she be someone we've seen before, like for example, Eri's mother? We know that Eri's mother also had white hair, and we've actually seen her in the anime, but only from behind. Could Eri's mother be a Himura? Don't forget to drop your thoughts, theories, and predictions down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this MHA video and you want to see more in the future, leave a quick like right now. And if you're one of the over 50% of people who watch my videos regularly but haven't taken the time to subscribe yet, do me a big favor right now and make this the video that you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at Anime Uproar. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.